Spain, where midnight visuals are creating a grim picture across the country. Spain is once again facing a major migrant crisis, and this time at the tiny North African enclave of Ceuta. Thousands of people have crossed from Morocco into the Spanish territory in just 2 days. At least 18 people have died during the dangerous crossings, forcing Spain to deploy its military to restore order at the border. Look at the visuals coming across your screens right now from the border of Morocco and Spain. But why is this small city witnessing such a sudden influx? Why is Ceuta so strategically important, and why has it repeatedly become a flashpoint between Spain and Morocco? Thousands of migrants, one tiny city, and a border that has once again become the center of an international crisis. The Spanish enclave, located on the northern coast of Africa, has witnessed a dramatic surge in migrant arrivals from neighboring Morocco. Many cross by swimming around breakwaters or entering through coastal routes. Spanish authorities say that at least 18 people have lost their lives during this attempt. The influx has prompted Madrid to deploy the armed forces to support the civil guard in securing the border. Now, so what exactly is Ceuta? And although it lies on the African continent, the city is an anonymous city governed by Spain. Along with the nearby enclave of Melilla, it forms the European Union's only land border with Africa, making it strategically important. The city has remained under Spanish control for centuries, and it has a population of around 85,000 and is home to both Christian and Muslim communities, with Spanish and Moroccan residents living and working across the border. But Morocco has never accepted Spanish sovereignty over the city, referring to both territories as occupied lands. The territorial dispute has repeatedly turned the city into a diplomatic pressure point. The most notable episode came in 2021, when Morocco relaxed border controls, allowing nearly 8,000 migrants to enter the city within just 2 days. The move was widely seen as retaliation after Spain provided medical treatment to a leader of the front which seeks independence for the Western Sahara. Relations improved only after Spain shifted its position on Western Sahara and strengthened diplomatic ties with Morocco. Beyond politics, the city is also one of Europe's most important migration gateways. For many migrants from Morocco and sub-Saharan Africa, reaching the city means that stepping onto European Union territory. From the Moroccan town of Fanidek, migrants often attempt a 5-kilometer swim to reach the city, and others choose even shorter but equally risky routes from nearby coastal areas. Spanish authorities routinely intercept many arrivals and return them to Morocco, while others are placed in reception centers where they may apply for asylum. Now, despite the attention the city receives, it accounts only for a small share of migration into Spain. For larger numbers reach the country through Mediterranean sea routes and the Canary Islands. Today, nearly 1 in 5 people living in Spain was born outside the country. Many migrants from Morocco, Colombia and Venezuela work in agriculture, tourism and other key sectors for the Spanish economy. For now, however, the focus remains on the city of Ceuta, where migration, border security and geopolitics have once again collided. The immediate trigger behind this latest surge remains unclear, but the developments once again highlight how migration, diplomacy and territorial disputes between Spain and Morocco remain closely intertwined. As Spain strengthens border security and investigates the cause of the influx, the city has once again become one of Europe's most closely watched frontiers. I am being joined by, for more on this, foreign affairs and a geopolitical expert. Adit Kothari is with me on the broadcast. Thank you so much for taking out the time and joining me on the broadcast. Adit, for the viewers to understand what is causing this sudden influx of migration, because we have seen the visuals coming in from the Spanish border. People are risking their lives. They are swimming for 5 kilometers and more than that. 18 people have lost their life while swimming and crossing the border. What is pushing this migration and this sudden influx of people?
Nancy, I think one of the critical issues was pointed out by you, the long-standing issue that Morocco actually doesn't recognize Ceuta to be part of Spanish territory. They've again and again been harping on that even though politically it may belong to Spain, geographically it is inalienable to Morocco. But there is another factor that often gets looked over, which is Spain's relations with Algeria. And just on the 20th of July, the Prime Minister Sanchez had basically visited Algeria, which sort of gives rise to West Sahara tensions. And as a consequence, the dynamics between the three nations, Morocco, Algeria and Spain comes into harm's way, which is why a lot of the analysts are now seeing this as hybrid warfare, where the Royal Moroccan Guards have allowed and flouted the maritime security arrangements to facilitate this hybrid takeover of Ceuta.
Right.
There is also the additional the Supreme Court ruling in Spain, which basically acknowledges that anybody who crosses into Spanish territory via the sea cannot be just sent back. They have to be processed back. Now, often
Absolutely.
what happens is, due to the process, a lot of people take that window of opportunity to just disappear either within the Spanish inlands, or find other ways and means to get into mainland Europe. And this is becoming quite a bit of concern, even from a European perspective, which is why you have leaders like the Prime Minister of Italy, Meloni, basically outlining that Spain should be basically ousted from the Shenzhen region as a consequence.
That's right. But also, Adit, I want to understand that people are forgetting the actual cause. It's human beings, they are people. Migrants and their rights has to be protected as well. Because of the problems that has been going on between Morocco and Spain, these people who are now crossing, risking everything, crossing the border, entering the European territory, what happens to the rights of these people? How are they going to be accommodated? Whether they will be accommodated or they will be sent back? Um, how does one, as country, Spain as a country, can handle it in a better way, where you are protecting the humanitarian rights of refugees as well?
So these aren't just refugees; they are, economic migrants, economic illegal migrants, which
Right,
causes a lot of stress on already stressed economies such as Spain.
right.
So the Spanish government basically goes through a bit of a contradictory uh, dilemma here, where
Absolutely.
they've got a pressing issue internally, and then you've got this huge burden from an economic crisis, the crisis of the illegal immigrants. Uh, the nature of the state is that these are social leaning, so there's a lot of social benefits that the state basically hands out, and the state continues to provide disproportionate amount of patronage to illegal immigrants as opposed to even their own homeless people. So they will be looked after nonetheless from a humanitarian perspective. The bigger concern for Spain economically is that their TFR, which is their fertility rate, is at an all-time low. It is close to about 1.3, which is far below the displacement rate. So they do require immigrants, which is why the Spanish government went on to basically legalize and formalize almost 50,000 Bangladeshis just a couple of months ago. But that will create a lot of disbalance and disharmony socially, because you have to bear in mind that most of these illegal immigrants who are coming into Spain, which is a free and a liberal economy, societally speaking, come in from predominantly Islamic lands, where they are conditioned to behave in a certain way with some sort of prejudice and some sort of practices which are not compatible with the Spanish society. So all of those issues will come into play with regards to liberty and freedom in Spain. We've seen that time and time again, where demographics has played a key and vital role in many Spanish cities, which has completely many European cities, which has completely changed the complete fabric of society in these towns and cities.
Well, that's right.
Nancy.
Adil, I also want to ask, do you think that stricter border controls by the Spanish authority, do you think that there's a chance that it will push migrants to, go for even more deadlier routes? Because swimming across from one country to another, 18 people have already lost their lives. If, let's say, Spain wants to address this, and they should, because migration can be, the illegal migrants can come with a lot of security concerns as well. They will make sure that now the border controls are strict. Do you think that this can also push the migrants into going for even deadlier routes?
So the migrants will always continue to look for deadlier routes when choke points have been blocked off, and we've seen
Absolutely.
that time and time again with regards to what happens between Calais in France and Dover in the UK. People choose to swim across the English Channel which is a far deadlier route, far hostile waters, just in the whim that they can get into the UK and uh, find a better life for themselves. However, the disparity is also from a perspective that with the rise of illegal immigration into Europe, you've seen a spike in civil disobedience, in the rise of drug abuse, in rape gangs, smuggling, all of those kind of illegal activities and antisocial activities. Just a couple of months ago, we had, just in Spain, where there was an illegal immigrant who stabbed a woman 30 times, while screaming out an Islamic chant. So those kind of disbalances will continue to happen as well. Um, that shouldn't stop authorities from putting in their border controls, because at the end of the day, their allegiance, their responsibility is first to ensure that their civilians and their citizens are protected, and then comes the right of the illegal immigrants. If the countries fail to do this, Europe is looking at annihilation.
Absolutely, but Adit, I'm just trying to look at it from the perspective of the people, that what must have pushed them. This is, of course, this is an important and a very serious border issue between Spain and Morocco and has to be sorted out. But I'm also trying to understand that the focus of the real solution should also be on the fact that what is the root cause of this migration? Why are people moving out and choosing and are ready to risk their lives to cross border and to go illegally into some other country? That should
So
also
the
be
root
addressed.
cause, the answer to your question is, what does Morocco present to its citizens versus what are the promises that they see from Europe? Europe
Absolutely.
gives them free healthcare, it gives
Right.
them free social housing, gives them free schooling. So it's necessary the sort of freebies which attract them, and the fact that they can just go onto another land and get access to these free social welfare schemes and free money even without having to work becomes very attractive. So that attractiveness needs to be reduced from a European Union perspective, which it's completely failed to do, Nancy.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much, Adit, for taking out the time and joining me on the broadcast with those meaningful insights.